Have you ever made a silly mistake at work? Maybe it was a typo or some sort of issue of clarity. Whatever it was a little embarrassing. Maybe it proved to be somewhat costly. You didn't like it afterwards. You were just like, oh, why did that happen? Today, I want to talk to you about some ways that you can prevent some of these mistakes from happening at work. It's a process that I think you can use right away. My name is Ken Okel. I'm going to talk to you about this in this virtual presentation. I'm a professional speaker. I talk to audiences live and virtually about ways that you can improve your performance on the job. At the end of this talk, you're going to have an opportunity to get a little guide I've put together. Goes over some of the key points that we're going to be discussing. You're able to download it for free. There's no obligation. And you're also free to share it with other people who might find it useful. I find that over time, I learn something, but a little refresher can be very valuable, hence why I'm giving you this guide. We're all juggling a lot of balls right now. It seems everyone's job has additional responsibilities, additional duties, and when you're juggling things and you add an extra ball, sometimes something gets dropped, and that opens the door for a mistake to happen. It doesn't mean that you're not a good employee, it doesn't mean you're not good at your job. But if you overwhelm someone, just give them too many things to do, something's going to go wrong over time. So don't beat yourself up too much if you're busy. Let's try to make sure that when you are busy, you're going to be more effective. Because I think we all fall into the trap. We got all these things in our minds. And when we're busy, we start to make little mistakes. For instance, when I'm writing something, I'm going to be editing it a lot. I'm going to be trying to make it perfect. That means a lot of changes. Over time, those changes could result in a typo, or there might be a verb tense issue, something like that. Now, usually I'm able to catch it, but occasionally one of those mistakes gets through. Is this something that you've experienced before? You spent a lot of time on something, you really tried to make it great, but it just didn't turn out right. I do suggest if you have some sort of spell check or grammar check available, use it. Very useful tools. Gives you an opportunity to catch a lot of little mistakes. This can even apply for emails that you're sending out. Give them that quick once over because you want to make sure you're always making a good impression on your peers, customers, other folks. If the word is in the wrong place or a comma, people could be confused. There might be a problem with the meaning. You don't want that to happen. I do think it's important for you to do some proofreading on your work. Here are a couple strategies that I use. I'll read through things, but often you have a challenge in that the correct version is in your mind. That may not be on the version that's on the page or the screen. So I will read what I have written out loud. People around me, they might think it's a little weird, but trust me, they get used to it after a while and they understand why I do it. When you read something out loud, suddenly a mistake may reveal itself, where if it's just in your head, you do your own mental autocorrect on the problem, it doesn't seem to be an issue. Another strategy that I use, we usually proofread something from the beginning to the end. Start at the end and work your way up. Usually we read that first paragraph, we're proofreading it, we're at 100%. By the time we get to the last paragraph, we're fading a little bit. We may not notice mistakes. So do it in reverse order so that you read the last stuff first. I found it could be a good way to catch some mistakes. It's also good to get outside help. Is there an extra pair of eyes that you can have check something out? Hey, would you look for any grammar mistakes, or just tell me if this makes sense, because I want to make sure it's very clear. Relatively simple process to do this. There may be someone who is really good at grammar in your office, who likes to help. In these instances, they are a wonderful candidate for this kind of thing. I do want to say that if someone is helping you consistently and really making you look good, you should give them some sort of reward at some point in time, especially if they are someone who works under you in the organization. Sure, it may be part of their job, but a little kindness, saying thank you, showing your appreciation, spending a little bit of money to thank the person, it's a wise move, because that proofreader could really be saving you, making you be more effective, not have to deal with mistakes, the embarrassment. They could really play a major role in your career. Make sure you recognize it. For some, they like to find a proofreading buddy. Often this is a peer, someone who you work with, You check their stuff, they check your stuff. It's a simple transaction. Both people get equal value out of it. Of course, you always want to take it seriously. Don't rush through proofreading because that's a great chance for a mistake to continue. But if you can find someone who you trust, who's like you, or maybe you're strong in one aspect, they're strong in another, together, you'll make a great team. When something goes wrong, I want you to become a little bit of a detective and think about some of the external things that have been going on that may have led to the mistake. For instance, some people do not do their best work at the end of the day. If that is the case, and you have some important project, maybe try to schedule it so you're not working on it at the end of the day. Also, there may be times where in your business, there are more distractions, more things happening, more noise. See again, if you can reduce the impact of those things. Maybe it means shifting where you're working to a more quiet area so you can focus better. See if you can identify, why did this mistake happen? Was it just you goofed? Or were there too many things going on? Your phone was ringing constantly. You're having to answer emails. You couldn't focus on what you were doing. As a result, you made a mistake. Something as simple as you switched feet and inches. That could be a very big mistake. I could see it happening when you're just too busy. And as I was saying before, it's all about finding how you perform at your best. You're not going to be 100% during all parts of the day. Review your time. Think about when you perform your best and really try to schedule the most important tasks during that time. Rock stars, they get to the venue for a live performance early because they want to rehearse, they want to prepare. Then they perform at a certain time. So they don't just walk in and 5 minutes later they're performing. They take the time to practice to get better. They're intentional about it. Can you be intentional on your job about preventing mistakes? Also understand, we all have our own gaps of knowledge, our gaps of understanding in our lives. You can't know everything in today's world. The good news is we have things like Google where you can quickly check on something, see if the thing you heard is actually true, or if the spelling is correct. Those resources are out there. It is also okay to go to an expert if you're not sure about something, to get some additional help to make sure that you got the information correct. It takes an extra step, but I find that extra step is much better to take rather than have to deal with a mistake at a later time. As promised, here is the guide, which I am putting the link to in the chat box. If you're watching this later on, perhaps on YouTube or on my website, you can download there as well. You'll find the download link. Just click on it, download, boom, you're done. I hope this is a good resource, something you can pull out from time to time, perhaps even share with new employees. Make sure that you're not making some of those silly mistakes on the job. The better you are on the job, the better your business will be. More about me. Name's Ken Okel. Nice spending some time with you today. Website, kenokel.com, just like my name. You want to shoot me an email, tvguy@kenokel.com. Short story about that. Worked in TV news for a lot of years. During that time, when you go out to a restaurant or a store, people would recognize you, but they wouldn't know your name. So they would just shout out things like, "Hey, TV guy," hence where the name came from. I also welcome you to connect with me on LinkedIn. My profile is my name. If you send me a connection request, put in the little note where you first became aware of me. That's just information that's good for me to know. It also makes sure that I understand that you're not some sneaky person who's trying to sell me some stuff that I probably don't need. Mistakes at work can be embarrassing. They can hurt our productivity, but there are things you can do to become more effective on the job. Thank you for spending some time with me on this presentation. Take care.